This is the second video in this series where I'm in North Wales and Anglesey photographing landscapes and seascapes using OM Systems OM1 Mark II camera and lenses. Some photographers maintain that for serious landscape photography you must use a full frame camera. Hopefully by the end of this series of YouTube videos I will have demonstrated that it's not necessarily true and that Micro Four Thirds cameras are excellent for landscape photography. So this is the third day of my trip to Snowdonia, and today what I've done is I've come up to a well-known location called Cwmorthin. It's near Blaenau Ffestiniog. It's up in the mountains and it's an old sort of quarry area where they used to mine a lot of slate. What I've actually been photographing on this occasion here is actually sort of using this lead-in line of this path with the white cottage in the background. Unfortunately there's a little white generator in front of the stone wall there, but that will be fairly easy to rectify in post-production. But what I'm actually using is the OM1 Mark II and the 8 to 25mm. Now in these sort of, when I'm doing this sort of picture, I don't need to put it on a tripod. I can hand hold the picture quite easily, and using sort of the image stabilizing on here I can go down to 2.5 if I wanted to. What I'm actually getting at the moment is 125th of the second f8, which is ample, and that's at ISO 200. It's a bit overcast today, but it's not really too much of a problem, and certainly in this sort of situation I don't think you really need bright sunlight. So what I'll do is I'll take a few more pictures. I've been wandering around the whole area looking for different compositions. The lake at the moment is very much like a mill pond. It's totally flat, there's no ripple, and the advantage of that is that I can get the reflections of the mountains and the clouds and that sort of thing in the foreground. Now at the edge of the lake there's loads of slate, rocks, that sort of thing that you can use as foreground interest, and using the polarizer on the actual front of the lens I can twist that to make sure that I can actually see through the water and see those rocks quite clearly. But it's not one of these days where I need to spend a lot of time putting it on a tripod, because conditions are ideal for hand holding. And what we're going to do is actually walk all the way up past the lake and take pictures as we're going. So what I'm doing with this particular shot is I'm using this puddle with these 5 bits of slate as foreground interest. It's in the pathway and it's leading through to the white cottage. So the white cottage will be the focal point at the back, but using this puddle as strong foreground interest and using the 8 to 25mm, I can tilt the screen to the side to a 45-degree angle here, so I don't need to lie down on the ground and actually look through the viewfinder. I can just hold the camera here like this and take the shot. And that actually looks quite nice. It'll be quite a strong composition using this strong foreground interest leading into the picture. So it's important when you're doing a shot like this is to take it in landscape format as I'm here, but also try doing it in portrait format, and actually that composition looks better. So what I'll do is take that shot, and the way these rocks or slate are actually leading into the picture, I think it actually works quite well as a portrait format picture. So make sure you take plenty of shots. That looks okay. So with this picture, what I've done is come down to the edge of the lake And what I'm using as strong foreground interest is this rock there that's covered in moss, and I've also got these bits of grasses coming up there. So with the 8 to 25 mil close in there, with the lake and the mountains in the background, should make quite a good composition. And as I said before, one of the big advantages of a flip out screen is I don't have to lie down on the ground and look through a viewfinder. I can just hold the camera down here like this and compose it and take the picture. Now there's quite a few rocks, bits of slate underneath the actual water. So using the polarizer that's on the front of the actual camera, I can twist that until I can actually see the rocks quite clearly. Okay, so that's fine. So let's check it's in focus. I'm using autofocus here, just moving the focusing point to that rock there at the foreground. It's important, as I've said before, although I've taken it in landscape format, I'm going to also do it in portrait format. I think that actually worked better as a landscape shot, but we'll see when we get the pictures back on the computer. So here at Cwmorthin, I've gone past the actual lake and I'm following the track along here, and I've come to what you could say is one of the classic viewpoints that they have here, and that's the old chapel that's falling apart, ruined chapel. You've got two Caledonian pines standing by the side of it. You've got the track leading down past, but along the side of it you've got these rows of slate fence here, and using a wide angle lens I'm using the 8mm, 8 to 25, getting down low with the wide angle, using those fence and the path to lead into the picture. It's one of these classic shots that if you go to a certain location you'll probably seen pictures like this many times before. People will say, as far as these what they call tripod hole shots, that the fact that you need to try and find a different viewpoint, but often as not the reason everyone takes the pictures from where the tripod holes are actually is because that is the best viewpoint. And the fact that it's been done so many times before shouldn't actually stop you taking the picture, because you can do your own interpretation of it. The light will be different, the clouds will be different, you can convert it to monochrome, you can do lots of things that stamp your own sort of identity on the actual picture. So basically I'm hand holding, got the OM1 Mark II 8 to 25mm, and it's just a case of getting down low, framing it up so you've got that fence as foreground interest. Now I'm just going to underexpose slightly so that I'm getting a little bit of clipping on the sky. Shooting in RAW I'll be able to pull a lot of that back, but I'm just going to change the exposure slightly. So when you come to these sort of locations, which are what I call classic sort of locations, although it's obviously important that you do the classic shot from the normal viewpoint that a lot of people take the pictures, but sometimes it helps to look around for a different composition. And what I'm actually doing with this shot is actually using this big boulder that's covered in moss as a foreground interest. I'm still getting the chapel in the background, I'm still getting the trees there, and I'm getting the path and the slate fence along the side there, but it's not using the slate fence as the foreground interest. The foreground interest is going to be this boulder there. And actually sort of the sun came out while I was taking the pictures and it actually looked very, very nice. But sometimes when you go to these what they call hot spots, where you get the classic pictures like Buttermere Pines, like Castlerigg, these sort of places that have been photographed numerous times before, always take the picture that everyone takes, but then try and look around for something slightly different. It's always worth trying to put your own interpretation on a picture. So I'm going to finish up the video just showing a few more pictures from the morning at Cwmorthin. It's a great photographic location and well worth a look if you're ever visiting the Snowdonia area. In the next video in the series, I will show images taken from two separate visits to Newborough Beach and Llanwyn Island on Anglesey. Thanks for watching.